Welcome to the Auric Investigators Podcast with Vicki McHale, a mutant 4/6 emotional generator with a line 1 motivation, and Lauren Wenzell, a collective 5/1 mental projector. Join us as we deep dive into off the beaten path subjects. But be careful, because we might just make you think, or even better, burst a few outdated bubbles around what you've been led to believe is truth. Agree or disagree, it's okay, because we have nothing to prove. So let's get started.
Hello and welcome to our podcast, Auric Sleuths. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Dejan, and I hope I'm saying that right because he is from another country and I'm American. So Americans are known for butchering names. So forgive me if I am mispronouncing your name. So Dejan is very, very special. He is the facilitator, creator, and leader of the company called Life Coach Code, a container for other life coaches to share their genius and expertise, highlighting the 4 pillars: spirit, mind, body, and heart. And this is all tied into the upcoming virtual SuperHuman Summit that is launching November 11th, which I'm going to be a part of, which I'm super excited. And I'm going to be talking on the spirit. So with over 10 years of writing, coaching, and collaborating with trained other life coaches, Dejan is a 4/6 Splenic Projector. He is half mutant, meaning half individual circuitry and half tribal. Earlier, like last week or so, I gifted him with a human design reading because of all the amazing things he's doing in his leadership, his community, for the summit, for the coaches he's invited to speak. And it was really profound what we found. And I just thought this was a great opportunity to have him come on our podcast to talk about the summit. And then we can look at his human design and see how everything can go in. So welcome, Dejan. Thank you so much for being here. And please tell us about yourself, what brought you to where you are today, what's your journey been like, and tell us how people can sign up for the summit, what they're going to get, and anything else you'd like to share.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Vicky. I'm honored to be here on your podcast. And when I hear people speak about me like this, I kind of get flashy here because it's always nice when you hear somebody speak about your life story and your path till here. So thank you for reminding me of this, that it has been long 10 years. And as you mentioned, we have a platform. It's called Life Coach Code, and we are focused on this platform to share knowledge, wisdom, and practical tips for people to enhance their 4 fundamental pillars: the spirit, the mind, the body, and the heart. And we also look out, that's our mission, to find coaches from all around the world, experts and individuals who have unique message and unique approach to coaching, and interview them and share their life story, share their obstacles that they overcame, and just showcase how they coach, their unique approach to coaching. Maybe they have some practices, techniques they invented. So that's the whole idea, just to share to people and to bring these coaches closer to the people and our readers. And as you mentioned, this November, we are doing something truly exciting. We are organizing a summit. It's a 4-day virtual event. It's called the SuperHuman Summit. And why it's called the SuperHuman Summit? It's because we are diving into each of these 4 fundamental pillars. And we believe that in each of these 4 fundamental pillars, there is a hidden superpower that's waiting to be unleashed. We know this personally because we interviewed over 300 coaches till now, and over 10 years of research and experience, we discovered that in each of these 4 fundamental pillars, there is a hidden thing. There is one hidden superpower in each of them that nobody taught us how to use. And the whole idea of the summit is, that's how we are designed it and put it together, that each day we are focusing on one of these 4 fundamental pillars. There will be talks, workshops, and panel discussions, all to help the individuals understand these superpowers better, and also to embody them, embrace them, and learn how to harness them and use them in their life. So that's the whole gist of the summit. There will be over 25 speakers. One of them is yourself, and thank you so much for joining. And I'm truly excited actually to hear your talk and to hear everybody's talk, because everybody's talk is going to be so powerful. The workshop is going to be so powerful too. They're going to help people embody the the whole abilities and superpowers within that pillar itself. And then the panel discussion is about asking questions and understanding more about these superpowers, so we can all put this whole picture together and people can understand it a lot better. And anybody that wants to join the summit, that wants to get the ticket, the price is affordable, more affordable than any summit I know that offers so much value. It's less than what you would pay for one meal, so there is no excuse not to join, because the value is over the roof, price is under the floor. And if you don't have time, everything's going to be recorded, so you will get the digital recording after the summit. It will serve you for a lifetime. So anyway, it's less than $40. You're gonna anyway spend this money that same week in some trivial thing, so why not just get this transformational journey for yourself? If you want to find the place where you can get the tickets, you can follow the links where Lauren will share. I will send to her, or you can go to lifecoachcode.com/superhuman summit and you can get the tickets from there.
Wow, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, I have a question right off the bat, because what you just described, what I heard, is a unique superpower yourself. You're finding kind of that key to everybody having a superpower within the mind, body, spirit, heart. And I know for projectors, a lot of projectors go through life and they kind of never find their superpower or their lane of genius. And a lot of projectors in general will flounder. But I know you've been recognized. I know you've been invited. And so that tells me you've really stepped into your own superpower. So, that's a long way to a short question is, how did you back in, or how did you find that zone of genius? Was there some type of pattern you saw? Do you see patterns? What is it that led you to this?
That's such a good question. And to be honest, all my life I had the ability to see patterns where other people would not be able to find patterns. And this in a way was a burden, but also it was a way for me to connect things that nobody else connected before. So I would always write something. Like, first, my platform started as a blog, and for 5 years I was just writing by myself for things that I'm passionate about. And these topics that I was writing about were just topics that I will just intuitively know, and I can intuitively speak about them and write about them. And I was barely doing any research. I'm ashamed a little bit to say that, but I was not doing any research. And then I said, okay, let's do more professionally. Let's do the research. What I understood is that the research just took time from me. What I was speaking about was actually true, and the research just proved it, but I was just knowing for some reason, and I was always able to see these patterns themselves. However, I struggled a lot to back up the knowledge and the message that I was trying to share with some concrete evidence behind it, because I can say, do these steps, they will help you, or this works because of this. And people will be like, how do you know? Like, where is the research? And I was like, but just trust me. Like, just trust me, do this. And it's so hard to convince someone to give somebody, even if you have the elixir of life, it's hard to give it to someone if they don't see a research why this works, or if they don't see some authority tell to them that this works. So I struggled with this, but I kept drumming my drum, and I cannot say that I'm still the person that everybody knows in the world that they can trust, that I'm an authority of some kind, but I'm keeping drumming my drum. And that's one of the main reasons why I decided to find out coaches from all around the world that are experts in the fields that I was talking about, so at least they can back up the story, the message that I was trying to share. So that's why I started approaching people and speaking with people. And also my knowledge deepened, because when you speak to an expert, they really understand the topic and the subject. So I can know the objective truth, but the real expertise comes when you speak with an expert. So that's a long answer to a short question.
No, it's perfect. And it shows up in your chart very, very clearly. So I can't wait to get to that part. So absolutely.
It's exciting.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Like, that is totally highlighted in your chart too. And it was highlighted in the article that you wrote too, when we did the podcast on your channel and you interviewed me, and you had no idea what human design was, but based on what I told you and everything that you typed up, I knew. I was like, he did no research and he already knows. It just channeled through him. Like, wow, what an amazing superpower. And this is where we're headed towards 2027, as we're going through this global shift in consciousness, in awareness, as we're going from the cross of planning, according to human design, into the era of the individual. So it's all about what you know, your inner authority. And research is just research. There's research for everything, and facts contradicting facts. So it's like there's research out there for what you feel is your truth or not. So it's really like trusting in the now, what's coming to you, or using your inner authority if that's not correct for you. So that's amazing. I wanted to ask you, you know, like, what has been your path, if you would like to share like a little bit more in depth, like what led you to wanting to go into this journey? What has it been like, especially as a non-energy type and projector, from, you know, the little that like we went over, and how has that been true for you? Have you had any like ahas, or just like, you know, confirmations, just knowing that like, wow, I am a projector, my life makes a little bit more sense? I'd love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, so the whole journey started 12 years ago when I decided to start the platform, the website, as my personal blog. But even before that, I just loved writing, and I just loved exploring these ideas in the form of writing, because whenever I write about something, I understand it better, and I will just have this big ideas, big topics, philosophical topics, and I just wanted to get to know them better. So I just started writing about them. That's the main idea why the platform was created. I just needed to have some space to share these ideas with people. And as I started writing, I started getting back in my life with like everything that happened to me, how this relates. And my life story is actually pretty interesting. Like my mom passed away when I was 7, 6.5, 7. So um, my whole family reacted really great, so to say, but great in brackets, because they were just acting like nothing bad happened, just to protect me and my sister from the terrible thing that happened. But as a human, and also losing one of the most important people of your life, it will affect you no matter how people around you react. So as I was growing up in high school, I started to be a really angry person. I would just, it will just show up in my anger. I will be just so much explosive, and I will have a little filter, so to say. Things will anger me fast. So I didn't like the person I was becoming, and uh, I started to run. Probably that was the best decision that I ever did. I started to run because I was finding peace every time after I finished my run. So with every run, no matter how much it was, 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, after that, I had certain peace, but I also had certain intuitive downloads. I don't know how to explain. Like I was, if I had some question before the run, I would run and I will have the answer after the run. It was like I was downloading intuitively knowledge. So doing this over the years, I gathered a lot of interesting things that I wanted to share, and that's where the platform came in. So I started sharing these things there, and also it linked to how I went overcoming my anger, how I went to deal with my own emotions, with healing my past traumas, and all of this I wanted to share with people. So I just started writing and writing and writing and writing. And I wrote one book. It got published in my language. Then I wrote a couple of books that they're still not published. They're in the editing process. And I'm kind of perfectionist. When I write a book, I just really cannot finish it. I just write it and I don't know where to put the stop. All the time there is something new coming, new coming. I just want to make it as big as possible. But I spoke with some editors and they said it's a big no-no. You have to birth it like a baby. It's you made it, now it's time for you to give birth. So the book is in the editing process, and I plan for 2024 to be released. But yeah, basically the whole platform started because I loved writing and I love to share these ideas. And as I mentioned, then it evolved into me collaborating with other coaches and experts, so I can share their stories and how they overcome their challenges. And through all of this, I was seeing and I'm seeing a pattern of things that are like general rules for life and for humans, like formulas that you can implement in any life path, in any life story, because we are all different, but we have all unique and maybe even the same dynamics that if you apply these formulas, you can have the same results. So that's my answer to this question. I guess this is what you were looking for.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. Like, I really appreciate that. And like, I feel like when we have like that understanding of where we have come from and like that vulnerability and that depth and that authenticity, it like, at least for me, it makes that connection feel like, oh, I'm not alone in like what I've been through. Like other people have gone through hard things and then they like found the answers and they're figuring it out still and have like these tools. And I think it helps a lot of people. So thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah. Dejan, have you noticed that any correlation to kind of people's trauma and the healing of that trauma or their background and how it relates specifically to superpowers? Like, say somebody had a lot of use growing up and they're really good at seeing patterns now because growing up, part of their trauma was kind of figuring out what was going on, what was safe. Have you noticed a correlation kind of between trauma and superpowers?
Yeah, so when you go to any interview on Life Coach Code, and when you read about the stories of the coaches and experts, what you will notice is that first of all, we are asking the same questions to each coach, and there is a question about what was the biggest obstacle that made you who you are today in your life, and it always, in 99% of the interviews, relates to what their coaching is about right now. So how they overcame their greatest obstacle in their life gave them the superpower to use that ability to help other people overcome the same obstacle. So whatever you're struggling with, no matter if it's addiction, no matter if it's childhood abuse, trauma, or health issues, the way you overcame those issues will always give birth to the way you can help other people to deal with the same issues, or maybe even different issues, but that can be solved in the same way. So that's the pattern I noticed.
Oh, that's interesting. And one of the things I've kind of seen that too is a lot of times if somebody had a really bad divorce, they become kind of a divorce coach or what have you. But what's interesting, and this kind of segues into human design, is because different people heal in different ways. And I think a lot of times we think, well, this worked for me, so it's going to work for everybody. And a particular person modality may not be for everybody, but they're going to find the people on their fractal that it does work for. Does that resonate at all with you?
Definitely. There are a lot of, and you can see their background, a lot of coaches, for example, that are more mindset focused. They will try to help people through mindset, through shifting the people's paradigm mindset. People who were going more towards the energetic route and healing with energy will try to help people through energy and I believe that because we are complex beings, we are multidimensional beings. As I said, we have spirit, mind, body, and heart, and sometimes the problem is within the body, the core issue, sometimes is within the heart, sometimes is within the spirit. And you really need to find the right healing tools first for the right problem. And to do that, you need to first evaluate where the right problem is, because a person can break their arm and you can do energy healing to them, but they really need somebody to just put the bone to the right place. And somebody can have childhood trauma, and that can manifest in some certain disease, and they will go to doctor, and the doctor will try to cure the disease, but they will neglect the core issue, that's the childhood trauma, that will later maybe manifest in a different way. So what I'm noticing is that people who are using their power to heal, they're usually using it from the place that helped them. But that's why I'm trying to put a more holistic picture, because as I said, not all problems can be healed, and as you said, not everybody can be healed with the same healing tool. Each of us are different complex beings that get harmed or damaged or hurt in a different way, so we need a different healing tool. And I agree with you, yes.
Well, that's amazing. So can you give us an idea of some of the people that are going to be at the SuperHuman Summit to give people an idea of what to expect?
Definitely. So first I gotta mention, we have she's called the mother of coaching, Sherry Taylor Sherry Scott, and she has been a coach when the word coaching was not invented yet, from 1974. She paved basically the road of coaching, and journey of coaching, she contributed so much to where the coaching industry is today. And she is going to be one of the speakers on the summit. She's going to talk about how to stop being a negaholic, how to design your mind in a way to not focus on the negative, but to focus more on the positive, and to unleash the positive from within you. And she's a person that I really admire and honor, and she's really huge in the industry. So if anybody wants to meet her personally, they can do that on the SuperHuman Summit. Aside from person like her, who is a lot more famous in the world, we have a lot of coaches that are maybe less famous, but their value and impact is equal, maybe even more impactful than hers. We have coaches that will talk about how to align your three brains: the brain in your head, the gut, and the heart. And what I didn't know before I met these coaches, that the heart is actually a brain, that neurobiologists actually found above the heart tissues that have gray matter, they have white matter, they have over 100,000 neurons, and basically everything that constitutes a brain. So the heart is in itself a brain, and it can think independently from the brain, and it's actually more powerful than the brain. The Heart Math Institute evaluated that the heart is over 5,000 electromagnetically, 5,000 times more powerful than the brain electromagnetically. This means that the brain has no chance to dictate what the heart can do. The heart does this to the brain. The heart dictates what we're going to think, what we're going to focus on, what we're going to feel, however the heart beats, depending on the heart coherence. That meaning the beats, how coherent they are. If it's 1 second, second and a half second, this is like a secret message that the heart sends to the amygdala. And after this beats, the 6 milliseconds after each beat, the amygdala reacts and decides what it's going to produce depending on what the heart said. So as I said, the heart can be measured over 9 meters around you, and it can affect people 9 meters around you. Actually, animals, that's how animals communicate, through their heart field, through their electromagnetic field that the heart generates. That's why when you see birds flock together, they fly like one thing. That's why when females live together under one roof, for example, in a monastery, their periods synchronize. It's all how the hearts communicate. And the person on the summit, I know I went on a little rant, but the person on the summit is gonna explain deeply how to align these three brains, because each of these three brains has a purpose. And a lot of times the main problems in our lives are because we are listening to one, neglecting the others. So we are most powerful when we align and we become like a magnet. Because what's the difference between a magnet and a basic steel is that magnets atoms are aligned. That's when it becomes a magnet, basic steel. So if you want to become a magnet, align your three brains, and your energy will be a lot more stronger. Then we will have a lot of coaches that will talk about manifestation and how to manifest like a superhuman, coaches that will talk about how to heal your gut and align it, strengthen the gut-brain connection. There will be biohackers that will share secrets how to use your body and its hidden energy potential to unleash them. There will be breathing techniques and other secret techniques that you can use every day without any cost that will help you unleash a lot more power and potential and energy, and a lot more that you can find in the summit. And it will be all, I know I said a lot more information and it can be so much chaotic right now, but on the summit it's so much organized, because each day we're going to the first day the spirit, second day the mind, third day the body, fourth day the heart, and after each day you will understand, embody, and harness the superpower that's hidden within that spirit. So yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. Just the three brain, because I know I'm still working, peeling that damn onion for my heart, because I cannot get it in alignment with my brain. And so poor Lauren, she's my call up girl to say, what? So that's worth the price of the ticket right there for me. So thank you for that.
I wanted to ask you, Dejan, what do you feel like you align most to within the 4 pillars? Where is your superpower?
I believe that it's not about where you align. It's each of the 4 pillars are yours to use, and you can use the superpower in each of them, no matter who you are. It's not that you are a person and you can use one of them and you can use their one superpower. I always, to be honest, was more open. Let's say my superpower of the heart was more open, because I was always more in tune with my intuition and I can follow it, and it was easy for me. It wasn't something that I needed to learn, but that's just a tiny glimpse of what you can actually do with your heart. So I cannot say that I was aligned with, or that one of them was open for me or not. It's just that you need to work on each of them, understand them, and then you can use the superpowers they're given to you. Everybody can use them if they learn them, just like anybody can learn karate and learn how to fight. Anybody can learn how to use these superpowers.
It's kind of interesting. I kind of reference most things to human design, just because that's like sort of my system right now in my mastery. And your heart's defined in your chart, so that's going to be more correct for you. And like you said, I know a lot of people can tap into all these 4 pillars to really use them, but I know you recognize people and what they get to talk about within each pillar. So yeah, for me, like the spirit, because I'm just a channel, like I'm a mental projector, so I just have the first 3 centers defined. So then it's like when you're talking about the coach that talks about aligning the 3 brains, it's like I think I took his test, and in my most predominant one was the mental one, and I'm just laughing as you're talking, because I'm just like, oh shit. I'm a little bit like off balance with like the heart and the stomach, because I'm undefined or open in those centers. So it's just kind of fascinating how this shows up in like different modalities.
Definitely, and it just proves how true and correct human design is. Because when you find a pattern that's interconnected in many different concepts, it means that this thing is true, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be correct. You will not find any correlation between the concepts.
Yeah. So as a projector, like how did you get invited and recognized into your company, or did you sort of just birth this through your intuition? And can you talk a little bit about, I know I went over like the strategy and your inner authority of like waiting to be recognized and invited. Like what's been your experience with that?
So for Life Coach Code, basically is I founded the company, and I built it because I always lacked the team behind me. So I was always having trouble I will tell the people, let's open websites, and they will open websites, and we will all have different websites. That's actually how we started with friends. But I always had hard time to get people on board with my vision. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna just drum my drum, do it alone, and then I guess somebody will join. And I was doing this for a long time, and nobody joined. So I decided for me to be the person that will try to approach people and to share this vision and see if somebody can understand. And that's how I met with you and with every other coach that I interviewed, because I went and I decided to find people with similar visions, similar missions that can jump on board, can do the interview, can become part of Life Coach Code, that can become part of the summit itself. So in my life, I've seen that I'm the one that starts things, and I need to be the one that pushes the thing until somebody recognizes the thing and then jumps on board.
Well, I think you're very lucky, and we're going to look at it when we pull up your chart here shortly, because a lot of projectors don't have that ability. A lot of projectors would have failed in that, but you have the 4426, which is all about sales and closing the sales, and that makes you extremely unique, because a lot of people who are projectors couldn't do that, but that brings a superpower to you that a lot of projectors don't have. So because a lot of projectors, if they start their own business and they go out and they start pushing it and going up to people, they get a lot of pushback. So I think that defined spleen and that defined ego center really worked for you. So that's really great to hear. So
Make so much
insight
sense
on that, Miss Projector.
Yeah, so we're going to take a look at your chart now so the viewers can see, where your gifts are, looking at the human design system. Was there anything else that you wanted to highlight for the summit before we switch to your chart?
Well, basically, I said that there will be over 25 experts from all around the world, and each of their topic is going to be as powerful as it can get. Like just the three brains is one topic. Like imagine you have over 25 more topics as powerful as that one, that will all help you and give you the tools to use your superpowers. So I don't see any that I can add anything more to just convey the value. The value in itself is pretty straightforward. And there will be, as I said, workshops, panel discussions, networking opportunities. You can network with each of these coaches and also with like-minded individuals. And at the end, you will receive free gifts from each of the coaches themselves. So just that is worth the price of the summit. Just that is worth the less than $40, less than somebody would spend in Starbucks. So literally, some people will spend this money in Starbucks and not get the ticket to have 4 days of transformation and embrace these 4 superpowers, or just be in company with these over 25 amazing coaches. So if you want to get your 4-day pass, and I believe you do, because otherwise I don't see a reason why anybody wouldn't be interested in this, at least, you can go to the links that Lauren will share with you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Get my pass right now.
I saw Vicky. I'm like, I think she's scanning to get the pass.
I don't know how to use it.
Well, I don't think this barcode will actually work, but
yeah. Okay. So it wasn't me. I'm scanning. I'm going, what am I supposed to
do? I'll send you the link, Vicky. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Okay.
I thought I was going to be so ahead of my time.
Okay, so here is Dejan's chart. Am I saying your name right? I feel like I keep messing it up.
Lauren, you're probably the first person of all the coaches that says it the most right. And okay. I'm amazed.
Okay, let's hear you say it.
Dejan.
Dejan.
Dejan, yes. It's
Dejan.
Like in USA, the year that we are reading is read J. So that's why many people call me Dejan, but it's Dejan. And whatever you call me, Dejan, or it's same for me. It's Dejan. Or even if you call me Dejan, I'm used to it, because I like a lot of people just call me Dejan, and I just got tired of saying to everybody it's Dejan. So I'm like, it's Dejan, okay. Or you can call me Danny. It's easiest for everybody. It's my nickname. So
Danny. Okay. We got it.
I guess 3 years in Spanish kind of paid off with my pronunciations. Okay. So as you can see, switching to Dejan's chart, he is a 4/6 splenic projector. And the thing that really stood out to me the most was his channels. So like I said, I think it was like last week we went over your chart. It was the first time you were ever really like learning about your human design, what things really meant for you. What was the things, what is a couple of things that really stood out the most for you? I know I give you like a lot of information, but I know you take it in really, really well, and your intuition is so on point.
The one thing that just really amazed me and made me just like, oh my God, this is so true, was this line here, 6124, that you said that you know things and you don't know where you know them, you just know them. And as I said, that was my life path till now. Like, I just know things, I will write about these things, and then people will just ask for research and the research will show and prove the things that are correct. So I always knew somehow that I have this intuition, but I didn't know how to explain it. So this was the big aha moment.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have that clear channel and that clear knowing. And then you also have 43 and that 60. So that's part of that channel. And the 43 is freak or genius. And when you're in your genius and your timing's right, you could just absolutely blow people away. And then you also have the ability, well, not just the ability, but you have the drive, and it's a subconscious drive with you, is if you see something, you want to change it or you think you could make it better. So you want to mutate things, you want to make things better. And you kind of do that through your clear knowing. You kind of do that through that freak or genius gate. And then you have the 51, which is shock. So a lot of times I think your ideas can be shocking to others. Like they're so outside of the box of the way other people would think. Does that resonate with you?
Or just wait till you read my book. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, this is so true. And I don't remember that Lauren mentioned this, but this was so true right now that you just said that whenever I'm seeing something, but it's in every domain. It doesn't have to be like scientific. It can be a song, and I just want to mix the song and make it in what I believe it's gonna be better version of the song, like a trailer of a movie. If I see, or whenever I see a movie, I just have these ideas about how I can make the movie better. Like, it's coming to me subconsciously, as you said. It's not that I think that I am better than whatever it's making the movie. I just feel that they did everything. Their work is profound genius. But also, if I put my sauce on this, it can be like mind blowing, and it can change the world. So that's how I'm approaching these things. Nothing like without people that are geniuses and that are producing these things. I cannot do it myself. But when they produce a masterpiece, I know I can put it on a level 2 by just including something or changing or tweaking.
Yep.
I love the defined ego. The defined ego. It's just like when it's healthy, you know, it's just like an inner knowing and confidence. But then with the undefined ego, it just amplifies. And then we have to like try to prove ourselves. And it's just, but you're lucky for a projector, you have that motor center for that defined ego, heart and will of what you envision. So Vicky, like what else do you notice of Dejan's chart and then what he was talking about with himself?
Well, I did point out before we got here, he's got that 2644. And so for a projector, having that defined ego, he backdoored into a way to be recognized and invited, because that sales channel and that defined ego, that could be, in my estimation, make it or break it for a projector. Because when a projector goes into a room, what happens is, you know, I come in and my aura is going like this and drawing people in, and oh, isn't she sweet and isn't she cute, and don't we want to play with the little white fluffy bunny? Yeah. your energy just goes straight to the heart of people. And if you're not in alignment or people don't understand what's going on, they could dislike you and not even know why, because you make them feel uncomfortable. And so having that ego with that projection, it's like you figured out a way to make it really work for you. And just the fact that you started your own company and you went in and it's successful as a solopreneur, as a projector, is amazing. But I think what also worked for you is you're a 4/6. And you talked about working with friends and working with people. And the 4, their opportunities come through their network. So if you go back and you look, the invitations come from your friends, they come from your acquaintances, they come from those introductions. So I think all of those pieces together, when I look at your story, I go, wow, either this guy really is intuitive and knew how to do it, or he's one of the luckiest people I've ever met in my life. So there you go.
This is so true, by the way. I would literally not be halfway, not even 10 meters where I am without my network, without my friends, because whenever I started something new, first with my platform itself, at first when I have had my website, like any new website, you don't have any traffic. And then I introduced having websites, the concept of having websites, to my friends, and we developed websites. And all of us started working, and they were the ones that found ways how to bring more traffic. They were the ones that said, oh, maybe we can share in Facebook groups. Back then, Facebook didn't have a limit to reach. You can share in groups as much as you want. So they were the ones that actually found the way how to bring more traffic. So I kind of used their advice for that, and I got a lot of traffic for my website, and that kicked me really good, kickstarted me really good. Then a friend will come whenever I'm in a difficult position. They will offer me some opportunity, and I will take it. Or there will be a friend that will offer me, for example, to go on an Erasmus project and like student exchange program, and I will go there and I will meet somebody that will really help me. So it was always through people, through so many. Right now, when I think about it, it's so many synchronicities, so many, like if 1 second could have gone differently, everything would have gone differently. So it was always like my friends were a net that was catching me and just pushing me to the right direction. I must say this.
Well,
Wow, that is like so line 4. I love that. Sorry, Vicky, what were you going to say?
well, no, I was going to say, and then he talked about his background. So I want to kind of go back to his childhood or his teen years, because I noticed his motivation is guilt. And, you know, a lot of times in spiritual communities, they say you shouldn't be motivated by guilt or by fear or by this or that. This is not that type of guilt. This is somebody who has done things in life, and then they've been able to turn it around, and then they use the pain that they brought others, or the things that had happened, and they use it like somebody who was maybe an alcoholic then comes out and starts a program to help other people. And you talked about how, you know, growing up you became somebody that you didn't like, and now I see that as your superpower, is to come in kind of through that motivation to say, look, I want to help make things better for others. But I also want you to see in your design, you have this 55, which is open to this 39. And the 39 is the provocateur. So you drew, without even knowing, you drove people into you that were very provocative or like to provoke. And then you have that 51, and that's all about shocking people. And so you also have kind of that 6, which can kind of be a little bit about anger. And then you are a projector. And so your not self is bitterness. So I want to see that the way you were designed, you kind of called in that anger. You kind of called in those situations where there could be provoking. And I bet you when you're behind closed doors with your good friends, you guys could have a lot of fun poking at each other and just having a good time. I just wanted to kind of call that out, like on your path, you were designed to kind of call that in. And then with the guilt, so you're in your superpower, even within your motivation within human design. Does
That's
that
so true, by the way. And a lot of my motivation, if I self-analyze, is can guilt, that's what I want to ask, can guilt be used for, I don't want to say blame, but maybe even blame or wanting to change something that angers you in the world, that's some unfairness that you are seeing that you want to just get rid of? Can it be used for that?
absolutely?
So
Absolutely.
my biggest motivation why I'm doing things is because I know deeply from my soul that we as humans have so much potential that we are not using, and I'm seeing so many systems are trying to suppress this potential in any way, shape, or form, and this is angering me, and I'm blaming those systems, and I wanna shatter them in a way. So this is my biggest motivation, and I don't want to do it in a like violent way, go and do a revolution. I just want to design a different model that will make the old model just fall.
So that's like so on point. Even though you're a 4/6, the guilt, it's color 5. So the fifth line is heresy. So I'm a 5/1. The heretic is here to, share their heresy and either like be praised and, seen for it, or you can get kicked off your soapbox and ran out of town. So the motivated by guilt, it's like it's positively motivating people what needs to change and how to fix it and go in there and seeing like, this shit isn't right. And if you want to get your shit together, like do A, B, and C, and you have that frequency in you to share that when it's invited. Because if you try to do it softer or hope for the best and pray about it, people are gonna be like, no, something's off. Because that's what you're going to be conditioned in your not self to do. Compared to somebody who has that motivation, it's just going to be true for them.
And then two more things I want to bring up just real quick is I want you to be very cognizant, because you're going to feel like you have a lot more energy than what you really do, because you're picking up energy from everybody with that completely open sacral. And then you have that open root. And so other people,
it's undefined, but he does have like a lot of activations coming off his undefined root. Yeah.
So you could have people kind of pushing you, or with your defined ego, you could be pushing yourself. And you have to be very careful as a projector, because you are not here to do 10-hour days or even 8-hour days. You're here to work in spurts and rest. And what happens is especially like you're doing a summit, you're doing a big job, you push through. And what you're pushing through on is energy that's not even yours, or through your own ego energy. And that could really, really wipe out your adrenals. So it's very important for you to know when enough is enough, because your brain's going to tell you, I can keep doing it. The ego is going to tell you, I can keep doing it. But you can be at big risk for health issues if you don't learn to work with your energy and really understand what's yours, what's not, and when to stop. The other thing I wanted to talk about is I was just looking, you're 3 right and 1 left. So the only place where you're really strategic.
So which she means by that is the arrow. So anybody that's listening or is watching, these are called variables in our design, and it's part of the PHS system, primary health system. Some people don't really resonate with it in the human design community. Other people swear by it. So it's just really your preference, what your inner authority is guiding you to. For me personally, I highly resonate with the variables because I'm predominantly right arrows. I have 3 right arrows as well. So I think people with right arrows will resonate with this a little bit more than people who are more left, and they're more just, designed to be more of like the way of the old and just how things are, compared to people who are right, which is future vision, what's the future, how are the new structures and systems supposed to operate. So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to bring out, because a lot of times, because he has a defined head and a defined ajna, and so that's very cerebral. So a lot of times people who have this definition, they want to be very logic based or very strategic, and you are not built to be strategic. You're built to be future facing, and you are built to go with your feeling and your cognition of what feels best. You're not here to look back and say, well, this is how this person did it, and this person did it, and this person did it. You're here to say, this is what feels good for me, and this is, the future facing, and kind of going with the flow of things, rather than you're taking a course that says how to become a millionaire and do this step and this step and this step and this step is going to fail marvelously for you. You have to go with your own inner knowing. But then when it comes to your environment, your home, where you're at, you really need stability there. Like you like that stability. And then Lauren, did you want to add to that?
Well, I just wanted to get Dayan's feedback from everything that you just shared, like with this, especially being a projector and having a completely open sacral, and like just navigating, because I think you have been experimenting with being a projector even before you even knew you were a projector, and honoring your own unique way of your energy and your design and what's true for you. So do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So first, it's a really good advice that Vicky said. There are a lot of times that I see myself truly overworking, and what I'm doing, and now I understand it why I'm doing it. It's usually I just put my things that I need to finish for the day, and then 4-5 hours pass, and then I feel tired, but my mind says like we need to finish these things, and if I don't finish these things, then I will motivate myself with guilt. I will be like, but
Wow.
you are not less than somebody else. Like everybody can finish an 8-hour day. You are not a less person, so just finish, keep pushing, you can do it. And I have this strong stubbornness, let's say. It was one of the main reasons that I ran a whole marathon, because I was stubborn enough, because I promised people I will do it. So I 42 kilometers without stopping. I said I will do it, and I did it. I couldn't feel my legs after that, but I did it because I'm stubborn. So this stubbornness is superpower in a way, but it's also a burden sometimes, because it's pushing me to do things that are maybe harmful for me. And I will, as Vicky said, overwork, and then I'm trying to really not push myself that much, so I burn out, and then few weeks I cannot do anything, because I went there, and I know how that much that sucks. So I'm just trying to hold myself back, but I'm always near the edge, and I can feel it. So I will keep that in mind and just not push myself that much
Well,
from now
and
on.
remember, like we can get done in 2 to 3 hours, where most energy types can get done in 8-hour days. And I have to remind myself that, because I'll do the same thing. I'll guilt myself of like, oh, this needs to be done. Like, we just went through this recently. Like I overworked, and it's because my mind that kept pushing me. And then I told it kind of like exploded. Vicky's like, whoa, what's going on? I had no idea you were feeling this way. Like you're the one who kind of like, and I just noticed, I was like, it was my mind telling, it's still conditioned to try to keep up as generators, and really giving myself, seeing where my undefined centers are talking, like, oh, my undefined sacral is telling me to keep up with the energy world. My open ego is trying to put like, prove something, my self-worth or this and that, even though it feels good. And, it gives me that, that feeling of joy, because I really like what I'm doing. But then when the mind gets in the way, instead of really listening to the body in the vehicle of like, okay, you know, like you need to take a couple of days off. Like that's so new for us in this society where we've been programmed to be robots, like lifeless robots working because it's attached to proving something or this or that or money or whatever, instead of really, you know, dismantling all that BS and just following our inner authority. I mean, I'm like over 5 years in this experiment. It's still like, I'm still learning the lessons. And, you know, thank God Vicky is doing the experiment too, because she'd probably be like, you know, you either need to keep up or why are you like, you know, getting upset? And it's just like, it's a really good tool that we have to reference of like, oh, okay, we can look at it like in like just we have a visual, you know, instead of just, you know, it just helps the brain, I think, a little bit more understand.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's so true. And it's also when you can do the whole day's work in 4 hours, that's even more pushing me. I'm like, I can be ahead of others if I just keep pushing, because, you know, we need to work 8 hours, 10 hours. And if I finish this much in 4 hours, I'll be more ahead. So it's like fooling myself in a way, motivating myself to push through by using this power, pushing this power. And now I understand I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's ego, and it's a tough one. Like there's a part of me that I have every gate coming off the heart or the ego center, but I do not have a defined ego center. So it's like the bane of my existence. So I get it. One more thing I want to bring up, and I'm going to let you talk about on this, Lauren, is he's indirect. He's actually nocturnal.
Yeah, we went over this during the session I did for him, and it was really interesting to hear like your experience with it's called indirect lighting in human design. So that means somebody who is designed to be awake at night. And this is an experiment for people, because it's like most people are designed, or we're living to live during the day. But then when we have these nocturnal beings who are maybe struggling during the day or like have more energy at night, but then their mind is conditioning them to go to sleep early, especially if you're a projector. It's like go to sleep early, but then when you're in bed or you just have all this energy and ideas. And I really liked your comment that you said when I gave you this information. You're like, I feel like at night the world is just quiet and I can focus. Like I felt like that was such like a indirect nocturnal thing, because when it's night, I'm like, I'm out. I need to go to bed, even though I'm really sensitive and with my sleep. And so, and I've heard people say that who are nocturnal. It's a different experience for them. So what has that been like for you?
Yeah, so I didn't know this. I didn't know that I'm nocturnal, that I work better at night. I always have this routine, morning and evening routine, to put me morning into focus, evening into relaxation. But I noticed that whenever I'm working at night, it's just everything is more peaceful and I can focus more, I can flow more, and just time goes from 12 till 4 a.m. It can go like a second for me. And I just don't know how it went like this. It's so, I don't know how to explain this feeling. It just feels that everybody's asleep. You don't need to do anything else. You can just focus on your thing. Like there is no distraction. Nobody should do something, help, no other activities, no other distractions. You can just focus. It's just like this peace that many other people, I guess, feel. So this was always a thing that when previously, a few years ago, I was working mostly at night. I was working from 11 till 3 a.m., something like this, 3, 4 a.m., and then I will go to sleep. And I was doing this not because I knew that I need to work at night, nor because I was aware enough that I work better at night. It's just because when I wake up, I just want to go out, want to do some things like drink coffee with friends or just hang out with family. And then when I come home, it was always this period that was not defined for me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna work this period. So it was more maybe indirectly I approached this, and it worked for me. But yeah, I always feel that also I'm eating at night. So at 12, 1 a.m., there is a lot of days that I can eat food, and I don't have a problem with that. So um, this is I guess what you mean with nocturnal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our teacher's nocturnal. And like sometimes she's texting me and I'm like, Raquel, it's 2 a.m. I have to go to bed. Of course, she's also in California, so it's 2 hours earlier. But literally, if I need to get a hold of her and get her attention, like I
Yeah, me
up
too.
till 12 and start texting her because I know I'll get a text back. Like all day long, it's crickets.
Right. Yeah.
2 a.m., you're laying in bed trying to go to sleep and you start hearing ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, like I'll be going to bed around like midnight, if that. And like if I'm talking to her, I can feel her energy and she's so energetic. She's like, "What are you doing up? This is awesome." I'm like, "I'm going to bed. Good night."
Yeah, she's just right there.
Yeah. And isn't it nighttime where you are right now, Dayan,
Definitely.
sorry.
So that's what I wanted to mention. I
Yeah.
work with people that are mostly from USA, UK, and Canada, Australia. So where I'm from, it's usually nighttime when it's daytime for people from there. So it was probably because of this that I was working at night, but I also felt like more focused, more peaceful. So
Well,
Amazing.
that's awesome. Okay, well, I'm done with my insights. Does anybody else have any more questions or things that they would want to fill us in on? Or
Did you have any other questions or insight about your design?
me, I just love this everything that you said till now, and it makes so much sense. It's like somebody knows me more than I know myself, and it was so interesting to listen to this because there were so many questions that I had till now that I didn't know how to answer, and now I have the answers for these questions, and I will definitely follow the advice. And basically, yeah, that's it. I don't understand anything about these numbers that I'm seeing right now, but I trust that you shared that what they mean and everything that's important. So I don't know what else to ask. The only thing probably maybe that I can ask as an advice, but I already asked you, Lauren, and you said that this is just who we are. Is all my life I'm struggling with. Uh, I don't want to need to filter the energy of other people. And I know that whenever I go to some place, I just suck the energy, and it's it's like sometimes you are surrounded with people you don't want to be with, but I always felt weak, and I felt a sense of weakness that whenever I'm with such people, I just feel impacted more than any other person. So I just wanted to build some walls or some filters, and there are certain things that I'm doing every day, like uh, maybe putting things in a certain way just to make myself more focused in my environment. So these are the tiny things that I found that work for me to make me focus, to protect my energy. But I really all my life I felt that this is a type of weakness that I need to overcome in a way. So my advice is it a weakness? My question is it a weakness, or how to maybe more efficiently do this?
So I want to answer two of your questions really quick, and then I'll let Vicky take over too. So the numbers, they're called gates. So in our human design, we have, I believe, 26. Is it 26 activations through our gates, Vicky?
yes.
Is that it? Okay, so 26. And then depending on the channels, that's where our definition comes from, and that's where our gifts are. So these are called gates, and each gate has an expression, an energy, a DNA frequency of you are the way you are because of this. And so that's what a gate is. And then with the full line, that's a channel. So then not only are you a projector, but you will have a completely open G center. So projectors, wherever we go, we plug in, and then it's like we plug in with the straw and we slurp in wherever we are. And it's just like, it's so intense for us. And you have no gates coming off your G center. So everywhere that you go, whoever you are around, you get to be really picky. It's not a weakness. It is a huge gift that brings a lot of wisdom of just honoring, like, you get to be very selective of the environment, the people, and the company that you keep around you that make you feel joyful and successful as a projector. And Vicky, what are your thoughts? What is your advice with that?
I was just going to say he does have a lot of openness, and he is a double empath because he has the undefined emotional center, and then he has the gate 19.
Oh, so yeah, that's really good insight.
Yeah. So I have the honor of being defined emotionally, but then I have gate 19 and gate 13. So not only am I emotional, I'm also an empath. So I've got it. So you've got it double as an empath. But yeah, as Lauren was saying, is every one of these areas where you're white, it can be seen as a weakness until you understand what's happening there. And then you get to decondition it. And then in through that comes the wisdom. So when you go out, you could be feeling great, and then you go out to, I don't know what stores they have where you're at, but you go to a grocery store, you go someplace where there's a lot of people and you were feeling great. Now all of a sudden you're not feeling well, or the thing is a lot of people kind of run from that because they don't want to feel that way. But now you know, oh my gosh, I'm picking up everybody's emotions. I'm picking up these feelings. I'm picking up, there's a theme for each of the centers. You could say, you know what? I could allow that to pass through me. I could allow it to pass through me. It's not mine. Let it be gone, and just learn. And the more you kind of sit in that or work with it, the less I think impacted you are. Like when I first started my spiritual awakening, I couldn't go into Walmart or any place without like just having an anxiety attack. And sometimes it still gets me, but I will go in. It's almost like I have that defined ego, like your energy's not going to take me down. And I'll just kind of stand in it and like project my power out. But yeah, it absolutely does become a superpower. But in the beginning, when you don't know you're being beat up by energy all day, it can seem like a weakness. Like, why can't I go out to dinner with a bunch of people? Why can't I do this? But once you know it and you start feeling it and you start identifying it, then I think it does become a superpower, because then you can go into any place and not be impacted.
That's wise, and I'm gonna try that actually, to just let the energy pass through. I don't want to sound arrogant, but like a lot of society is not in their right state of consciousness, and we all know that. Like a lot of people feel a lot of low level emotions. So for me, it's like whenever I go to the store, I usually just try to be so much detached from people, like just say, oh, these people, just let's go buy the things, like just to just push this energy away. And because for me, it's like, if it's wind, it's like wind that smells. So I just don't want to smell the wind. So it's like I just want to just ignore that it's even there. So that's how I try to manage it. But I will try to just be more open to it.
Yeah, just be more open to it and understand if you do sound arrogant, you're kind of built that way. So it's okay.
And I'll just share a little bit of what I've noticed because I only have one gate coming off of my G center, but I'm a mental projector. So I take everything in. And with the deconditioning with this for me, and my view is personal, so it just helps me share through my personal experience to relate to people. So I noticed what my mind was conditioning me to put myself into certain environments, and the wounding and the certain things that my mind was making up about, like, oh, well, I should go here because my friends are here. instead of listening to my undefined G center, I'm like, I don't really like being in bars or clubs anymore because, you know, I'm sober. I don't align with that environment anymore. But my mind and the conditioning will be like, well, that's where some of your friends are. And you know what, FOMO, you know, what if you miss out on a good time? And so I really just had to, it took a while. And this is why it's called an experiment, to really get sovereign and present and real with myself of like, you know, if I really love myself, why am I putting myself in these environments? You know, and it's like, if I have to do something, like, what's the easiest way I can do it if I have to go in a certain environment? Or can I order something online if I don't want to go in a certain store that's really, really busy? You know, like, do I prefer, like, can I go to a boutique instead? Because like that energy, not a lot of people are going to be in it. Or can I renegotiate with a friend? Can we like go here instead, where it's not as busy and like, you know, alcohol isn't involved or this or that? So it's like really experimenting with this open center and honoring, you know, how it feels and noticing what your mind is making up. Just kind of notice like all like the stories and stuff and ask like, is it true? And going back to your theme of what's going to bring me joy? What's the easiest thing? And just kind of see what your intuition brings you. So that would be my contemplation for this.
That's such a good advice, and I kind of played with it because I found it really hard when I was younger and when my friends were going out and we were going to clubs and the environment there was not the right environment for me. I wasn't the type of person that will just sit on the bar and drink and just like pretend that they're these cool rich guys, because we weren't, first of all, and second, like, I don't like this energy of just it was pointless for me. So I started going out alone, and I started going out alone and just doing what I found to be joyful. Will just speak to a person I just want to speak with. I will just speak about things that I want to speak about, like some random things that bring me joy, maybe a movie I just watched or a TV show. If I listen to a song that I like, I will just sing it by my own, like not caring who's what, like just things that bring me joy, as you said. And I really reframed the whole experience of going out. So I enjoyed doing it. So that was one way I'm just thinking of it right now as an insight.
Well, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And we're way over time, but it's been so awesome. I completely enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the SuperHuman Summit, and I'm really excited. And boy, were you smart in getting my beautiful gal pal Lauren as part of the summit. She's amazing. So I wish you guys the very best, and I will be sitting back there watching and learning and hopefully coming into alignment and figuring out my own superpower.
Thank you so much. I really loved everything that you shared with me right now, and that you offered to do this, Lauren, for free, and that you just went into so much detail. I'm so much thankful to both of you. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much for being here. And we look forward to the SuperHuman Summit for this episode, for other people to learn more about their design, how to unleash more of their superhuman potential, and what this world is really, you know, what's possible. So yay. Thank you all so much. And until next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, we absolutely love your feedback. So check out those links below and reach out with your insight, feedback, and even your ideas. And until next time, remember...
That's all, folks.